What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. You know, it actually amazes me how the media is overreacting to the surprise press conference that Steve Mills had held about 11 games ago when the Knicks got blown out by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He just basically stated that, they put a team well enough together where they should be competing from the first quarter all the way through the fourth. He even mentioned it's not about wins and losses. It's just about having a great product on the floor, whether they win or lose. Now, the media right now is anticipating the Knicks to fire David Fizdale. And right now, David Fizdale is pretty much working with what he has. The Knicks do have injuries at point guard, as the Dennis Smith Jr. situation also right now looks like it's not working out. It's still early, but right now he's still erratic from the point guard position. He's still going up and down with the turnovers. He's making a lot of mistakes. And it doesn't look like his jump shot actually improved, as he said he was working on it throughout the whole offseason. Now, Alfred Payton has also been out for about 17 games, and the Knicks are still waiting on his return. Now, when Alfred Payton was on the court, the Knicks were actually, in the few games into the season, the Knicks were actually one of the better teams in team pace. Now, in this segment right here, they're still anticipating David Fizdale getting fired. You guys check it out, and I'm going to touch base every once in a while.
Let's get to a team that is
Speaking of buyout candidates.
I don't know what else to say to intro Knicks topics. We're going to talk about the Knicks. It's not pretty again. I'm sorry. Cover your eyes if you're a Knicks fan or producer Steve. They lost their 7th straight game last night. They have the worst record in the East. Coach David Fizdale trying to keep it positive on the sidelines. But, Brian, what is next for him? Because it was, 3 weeks ago now that our Adrian Wojnarowski and Malika Andrews had the story that he was on thin ice there.
I was mildly surprised he wasn't fired today. Honestly, I mean, no offense. I mean, but
it's not 4 o'clock yet on the East Coast.
They have 2 days off here.
Right.
They have today and tomorrow off. You're not surprised they're playing the second night of a back-to-back in Milwaukee. You're not surprised they get beat. The team has not responded to the adversity.
Now that's false. The team actually has responded. Out of the 11 games, they had 8 games that were pretty close, even though they lost about 9 out of the 11 games. The 8 games were very close games. They actually only won 2 out of 11, which isn't good, but they definitely have responded. They stopped getting blown out. The only teams that blew them out was the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, they got better talent, the Toronto Raptors, and the Chicago Bulls. The game with Chicago where Kobe White went off from three-point range and all of a sudden got a shot back. But the Knicks have responded. They're playing a lot harder than they did before, and he's even made lineup changes. And again, like I said, his point guard situation, he's still waiting on Alfred Payton to come back, and he's been starting Frank.
The only thing that they really have left to do right now is to say, let's change the coach to see if we can salvage this. I mean, salvage?
No, the only thing they have to do is wait on Alfred Payton coming back and having a little more depth at the point guard position while Dennis Smith Jr. works his way back into game shape.
What? What is there to slip this team?
You want me to answer that?
Yes.
For the front office to salvage their jobs.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's true. Thank you for being honest. Like, that is the front office is trying to salvage their jobs.
Now, there's something definitely going on in the front office. Steve Mills definitely should be on the block because a lot of the decisions that he made over the years, ever since coming to the Knicks in 2013, it's just been real bad, especially with that Andre Bargnani trade. I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
This is not a Fizdale problem.
Let me ask you a question, though, in just in terms of that and the way, because it works differently, obviously, with every organization, and who knows with this one. But would it salvage their jobs? Because these guys have now run through X number of coaches, and certainly Steve Mills more so than Scott Perry.
Look, at the end of the day,
doesn't at that point having another fired coach on your resume?
Look, if we're going to be 100% honest about the situation, has David Fizdale done a good job of creating a style of play? No. Has he done a good job?
How the hell can you create a style of play when you never really had a point guard?
Job of developing, this is what we're going to be night in and night out, as in you know what your role is, you know what your role is. He is not. So 4-17 is on his head. It's not a 4-17 roster, but it's not a 500 roster. It's a bad team. He was given a bad team. He was given a team with 5 power forwards. He was given a team with no point guard. And in the NBA, if you don't have a point guard, they're getting boat raced by the other team's backcourt.
Notice how he never mentions Alfred Payton this whole time and the issues that Dennis Smith Jr. had coming into the season where, his family and also he had back injuries to start off the season.
Almost every night. And that's a result of personnel. So you can only sell 2 things in the NBA, hope or success. They can't sell success, and right now there's not even selling hope. because they don't even have the free agent class that they thought they were having.
What is your face doing right now? Your face is doing some weird...
You're right? The 4-17 is on him, right? They probably should have 7 wins. But 7 wins would still have him in the exact same position. Right. 8 wins would still have him in the exact same position. And that's the type of roster that they have. So, I look at another...
All right, he has a decent point there, a.k.a. the hater, Richard Jefferson. But the Knicks, right now, they do have a team that should be at least competitive. And that's what the initial meeting by Steve Mills was about. This is what the media is not getting. They weren't saying, hey, we should have a winning product. They were just saying we should have a competitive product.
A team that's struggling like the Warriors. They had still
Listen to me.
They're selling hope. But this is what I'm saying.
It's because they have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry waiting in the wings.
No, but you started the season with Steph Curry. You started the season, and then they were struggling.
The Warriors are not a comp here.
I'm not saying the Warriors are a comp. What I'm saying is talent to talent, right? The Warriors had more talent, and they were still struggling to start off. The Knicks have far less talent, and they are struggling and look like a very, very terrible team. So,
that's a decent point right there. The Warriors did have, actually, you know what? The Knicks actually technically have more talent than the Warriors. The Warriors, outside of Stephen Curry, especially with the injuries of Klay, and they're just, the drop-off is too crazy. You just have Stephen Curry and basically Russell, and then the drop-off is nuts. You can't even name a player outside of Draymond Green. They just have a bunch of role players and D-League guys like Looney. It's just unreal, man. The Warriors have always been designed like that. But the Knicks should have enough talent where they should, be competitive.
What do the Knicks have that should warrant any type of positivity from their fan base or from their organization?
Uh-oh. See, this is the hating shit that he's starting right here. Richard Jefferson is still mad that even when he was on the Nets going to back-to-back NBA Finals, the Knicks under Isaiah Thomas that was losing a ton of games was still more relevant than the Nets.
That's my only argument. I'm not saying that they're the Warriors. I'm not saying that.
And that's why really they're left with very few options. And option A is to change the coach.
No, they're just going overboard. Option A is just change the coach. Wait till they get Alfred Payton back. Wait till Dennis Smith Jr. see what he has. That might be a mistake right there. That Dennis Smith Jr. plan, it might not end up working out. It's still early into the season, but we still got to see that play out. But it'll be nice to have a bit more depth in the point guard position. Maybe combine Dennis Smith Jr. maybe playing 15 to 20 minutes and have Alfred Payton dictate the pace of the team.
Honestly, because of the storm that was caused by that press conference, changing the coach might actually help by at least getting rid of the uncertainty. But they have a West Coast trip coming up, and I don't care if you bring Red Auerbach back. He's not going to be able to fit.
I mean, that would sell hope. That would be.
That West Coast trip is going to be brutal.
That would be different. Maybe they wait until the end of the West Coast road trip because they don't want to set whatever new.
Yeah, this West Coast trip is going to be very telling, especially a game against Golden State, which, their roster is pretty much depleted. Fizdale can't get blown out in that game. And then they have games against Sacramento. That's another game where the Knicks should be competitive. As long as they're competitive, they should be fine. It's just Steve Mills questioned the product on the floor during that press conference. And it seems like that has triggered the media into just, getting a headline on the Knicks. Remember, ESPN has low ratings on the NBA right now. It's down over 20%. So any Knicks story that they can get the Knicks fan base, which, is a very large fan base, is good for them.
Coach they have up for this. To go back to the front office, Steve Mills has been in charge of this front office since 2013, obviously worked in the front office much longer. In the last 15 years, the Knicks have the second worst record in the NBA. They have cycled through many, many coaches in that time. In the last 20 years, they have the worst record in the NBA. But even if you just take the last 15.
And a lot of that shit got bad when Steve Mills arrived. Remember, Mike Woodson won, I believe, 52, 54 games. That season, after they, the following season, after they won all those games, Steve Mills was hired, and he actually got rid of Woodson's coaching staff, and they fired Grunwald. A lot of questionable moves that, were made as soon as Steve Mills got on board. And then, they had a good trade for Kyle Lowry. They didn't pull the trigger, and then they pulled the trigger on Andre Bargnani. A lot of bad moves by Steve Mills.
Their winning percentage is 38%, which is not what you
We're
want.
only talking about them because they're in New York.
Well, but that's actually a good point, though. This is a team with all the
Let him know, hating ass RJ. Let him know.
Advantages. And I think that is why sometimes there is frustration from the fan base, frankly, more than almost anyone. I mean, more than anyone else. No one is more frustrated than Knicks fans. I know that it feels sometimes like everybody else talks about them. Go sit down with the Knicks fans sometime, and they will talk to you about how frustrated they are.
At the start of training camp, the front office sat down and said, we believe we had a good summer, no matter what anybody says, and this is going to be a better
your face
season.
is doing that again.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Of course, it's gonna be a better season than it was the year before, because what we did last year was really bad. So you can only go uphill from there. That's all they said. They didn't say that we're gonna be a winning team. They're just gonna say, hey, fan base, we have a better product on the floor than last season. Last season we were relying on guys like Mario Hezonja and a lot of guys that used to be lottery picks that were actually busts, like Noah Vonleh, etc. We're not going to have those type of guys. We're actually going to have talent on the floor that can help our rookies elevate to another level, so everything don't have to be on their backs.
What his face is doing.
We don't believe what anybody else is saying. Well,
coming from this guy who got on national TV saying that the Knicks offered him a contract and he knew to retire. And then the other announcer asked him, is that true? And he said it was true. Then he gets on TV the next day saying that he was only kidding. Can't believe shit this guy says.
Everyone else isn't lying. I was always told that. If everyone else is telling you something, then you need to listen to what everybody is saying.
But I'm saying they set it up that way by either not being truthful or being woeful in projecting their team. Either way, it's not good.
Numbers-wise, they have the biggest fan base in the NBA. They have a huge resource in terms of money, in terms of their local TV contract.
Oh, you see what Rachel Nichols have just said? They got the biggest fan base in the NBA. And as soon as they can hop on a story that's actually salacious about the team, they always do. Especially the media, the inside bosses within the media are beefing with James Dolan because he flexes his power over the media with the Knicks.
Merchandising opportunities, the ability to draw free agents. The NBA would do better if this team
without question
was doing.
Yeah, and it definitely would. It definitely would. But like I said, the Knicks just have to wait on, Alfred Payton coming back. He missed 17 games. He's close to coming back. Hopefully they get him back on this road trip. But that game against Golden State is going to be important. We can't be getting blown out in games like that. But it is a bit of an overreaction to the surprise press conference by Steve Mills. It is what it is, but it's an overreaction. Knicks just have to stick to the course, stick to the plan, see how, things are when we get more depth in the point guard position. Because right now, that's pretty much what's causing, it's almost like a domino effect. The point guard position not being right, it's just causing everything else to look off. We got power forwards that are actually kind of running point guard and trying to felicitate some sort of offense. It's very weird. You got guys like Marcus Morris and Julius Randle trying to felicitate. It shit doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. You guys let me know what you think, and you guys stay safe. Peace.